Welcome to Influence Matters, the show that teaches you how to turn your story into impact and your expertise into influence. I am literary consultant and publisher Clara Rose, and I am your host today. Each week, I cover topics that are related to crafting your message for the world and building influence for your business, ministry, cause, or brand. Often, I do have a special guest who's doing something interesting or amazing that I think you might be interested in, and then I bring them on the show. And this week, I do have a guest. So let me tell you about her really quickly before we welcome her. She was born into a family of entrepreneurs, just like I was, and business is simply second nature to her. She began her first business at the age of 16 and never stopped. So if you know me at all, you know that we are kindred spirits because my first business when I was 18. Her ability to operate and grow companies to multi-millions of dollars in revenue for other people became the driving force for her to start her own company, Top Tier Travel, which has since become a multi-million dollar success, creating one of a kind incentives and experiences for tens of thousands of travelers in the corporate and network marketing spaces. And throughout her life, she has been sought after for her ability to help companies and individuals understand and monetize their own special magic. She now travels the world as a speaker, consultant, and coach, helping companies and individuals to align their magic with their message and connect them with their tribe. She is the co-founder of Aligned Speaker Academy, whose mission is to help business owners align their magic and their message and connect with your tribe. So please help me welcome Gini Trask. Are you with me, my friend?
I
Welcome to the
am. Thank you so much.
show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to
I'm
be here.
Thank you for taking time out of your clearly busy, crazy schedule to hop on the show and just talk with my audience for a little bit. I read your bio. Tell us what you really do at the heart of what you do.
Yeah, at the heart of what I do, I know from being in business since I was a kid to working with tons of business owners that businesses really do move the world forward. So when you move your business forward, you are creating change. You are creating momentum for other people. The business owners of the world are the change makers. They're the ones at the forefront who are, solving problems for people. If you're out there and you're listening and you have a business, your business solves a problem. Your business is magic to someone who needs that special thing that you do or you create or the service that you provide. And the reason I'm so passionate about what I do now, which is helping entrepreneurs to get their magic into the world in a bigger way by getting on stages, I know that some of you are just the best kept secret out there. You guys are just the best kept secret. And we want you to stop being a secret and start being big and taking up space in your niche, in your rightful place in the world. So, what I'm really passionate about is helping entrepreneurs to get visibility and leads for a lifetime by getting on other people's stages, such as podcasts, just like this one.
Mhm. I totally have been from the mountaintop saying this for years, writing, speaking, and leading. That's the answer, right? That's the magic sauce, the secret sauce to influence, right? That's how people get to know who you are. I love that you focus specifically on speakers. Having been through the National Speakers Association Speakers Academy myself years ago, I think 2013, I am just a huge fan of speaking and getting yourself in front of other people's audiences. Now, that is, as you know, and the reason you have a business is not always an easy task, right? So it's super easy to get people on my show, right? People, I'm booked out through mid June at this point for this year. But getting on other people's stages, getting on other people's shows, much harder. So I'm assuming you have some sort of a formula, secret sauce. What do you do that helps people get on stages? What kinds of things do you help people with?
Well, so we do have a program where we introduce you to two stages a week. So for our clients that work with us, we
Oh,
introduce
okay.
Yeah, we introduce them to 2 stages a week, and so we make that easy because what I found, I've been in this industry quite a long time. What I found is that I can give you a list. I can literally give you a list of places that are looking for speakers, and for whatever reason, you won't contact them. You just, you're gonna get, I don't know if it's that your imposter syndrome's kicking in,
Uh,
or, that you're too busy, but a lot of times our too busy is actually covering up something else, right? A fear
mm,
that we're not quite ready.
mhm,
And so, there's lots of great ways to find stages. There's a couple of good resources out there, groups where you can find stages. Podlicity is a school group that has is a very easy
yes,
way to get on stage. So Podlicity is one. Need a Guest on Facebook is another.
mhm,
And
mhm,
there's another one that is like Podcasters on Facebook. So there's three. Those are three that are really fantastic for getting connections. All of those are free. Podmatch is a good one that's paid. Talks.co is another good one that is paid. And when you pay, a lot of times they make matches for you and things like
mm,
that. So my
sure.
suggestion is that anyone out there that has a business needs to be getting on 2 stages a week. So if you got to pay Podmatch or Talks.co, or you
Right.
want us to make instructions for you, do it, right?
Mhm,
If having that little bit of a fee with one of those services gets it done for you, done is better than perfect, and you need to be getting
mm,
on stages like
for sure.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true, so true. And I have used some of the free. As a matter of fact, I have filled my show this year almost exclusively with Need a Guest, right? Being a part of
Yeah.
the Need a Guest community. Um, but everywhere I go, every community I'm a part of, people are like, oh, I want to be on your show. But so many of them don't have their own show. I love to podcast swap. Like, let's
Yeah.
swap out, I'll be on your show, but they don't have one. That doesn't mean I don't have them on my show. It just means I have to ask them, okay, what do you do? And will my audience find it cool? Right. Right. Versus
Yeah.
just straight up swapping. So having someone help you um, make those connections. And when you said that, here's all these free sources, but you don't do it, right? Sometimes it
No.
truly is, right? That you're just so busy. If you're a small, I'm a small lean company, and so there's never enough time in my schedule to do um, my 10 to-do lists, let alone add another to-do, right? So having someone to
Absolutely.
help you with that makes, even if you have to pay something for that seems like gold to me, right? Money well spent for sure. Now,
Absolutely.
that's like a paid for you service, right? Is that part of your speakers academy?
Yeah, so we have a program called Momentum where we actually
Oh,
do
okay.
we make those 2 introductions for people, because again, I'm all about moving people
Mhm.
forward, moving businesses forward, right?
I
When we
love
move our
that.
business forward, we move the world forward. So it's called Momentum, yeah. And in that program, we make 2 introductions. We do also teach people how to create what we call your speaker pipeline. We teach you how
Mhm.
to go out and
Mhm.
put in the right chat GPT prompts, put in the right Google
Mhm.
searches to find speaking engagements. We give you a little tracker and you get to track it. And we, of course, encourage people to use services like Need a Guest and places where they
Sure.
can find those opportunities. And we find that people tend to lean on like the 2 introductions a week, right? But ideally, we
Right.
want you out there applying. And sometimes people don't know what to say, and so
Mhm.
if you'd like, I can go through with the audience a little bit. Kind of what makes a good pitch. If that would be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think people would be super interested in that, right? We all need that extra, a professional to step in and say, hey, here's some best practices, or here's a tip or a trick. So yeah, give them gold.
Yeah, so I do really think that one of the things that stands in the way is you don't know what to say. You don't know how to pitch yourself, and our like I said earlier, our imposter syndrome can show up. Just know that the thing that is ordinary to you is magic to someone else. The thing that is ordinary to you is magic to someone else. So when you pitch, to a podcast, to anyone, to any kind of show, what we want to start with is something about them, not about us. The biggest mistake I see people make is they go to pitch and it's like, hey, Clara, I'd like to be on your show, and here's why I'm awesome. Instead of saying, hey, Clara, I've checked out your show and I loved the last guest that you had on. Or I love the way that you have all these, guests that give so much value on your show, right? Let's start with them. Then my suggestion is that you actually give them a couple of talk titles. Don't make them come up with what you're going to call your episode. Now, they might want to change it. They might make changes to the talk titles you give them, right? So we want to start with something about them. Then say, I'd love to be considered a guest on your show, and give them a couple of talk titles that you've already kind of come up with. Maybe it's something that kind of fits their show. So if I was going to make a talk title that, kind of fits Clara's show, it'd be like, creating influence through speaking, for example, would be, because I'm using the word influence because that ties back to her show. So give them a couple talk titles, and then we can get into a little bit about why we're qualified to talk about these subjects. And then we want to close with something like, what else can we do for their audience? Like, I do have a show, so I'd be happy to do a podcast swap with Clara. Or I have a mailing list of 8,000 people and I'd be happy to promote, right? Or for some of us that don't have lists, maybe we don't have all these things, maybe we can write them a 5-star review for their podcast or their show, write a Google review or a 5-star review on their platform.
I
So,
love that.
so it's basically about them first. What do you like about them 1st? Then easy done for you talk titles, then about us, then closing, what can we do for you?
And that's been some of my favorite pitches when people pitch me because I, I think I'm unique in that I give them access to my calendar, right? Right. And hey, if you want to be on the show, we need to have a Zoom conversation. But when people like just cold pitch me, I love those that come in and I see them using that exact formula. Hey,
Well, if they're
I
coming
love
from me
this
to
about your
guess, it's because I
show.
taught them me.
If they're I love that good job, by the way. So if they're coming in like cold like that and they're saying, hey, I loved X about your show, that tells me they took the time to go and look at my show, right? Watch like at least a piece of an episode, right? Before they're not just like throwing paint against the wall and hoping that, some of them stick and they can get on people's show, that there's actually some thought behind it. And I really appreciate that. Right. And then someone coming in saying, here's some things that I can speak intelligently on. And here's, why. So I just got one this morning from someone who said, hey, I think I'd be a good fit. But he used that exact formula. I'm like, yep, this is the one, right? So I could just respond. I'm like, yep, this is a perfect title. I'd love to talk. Here's my link. Go hop on my schedule. I think you'd be perfect for my show. It made it just super easy. So I love that formula for sure. If you're going to cold pitch somebody, especially about their show, make it easy for them, right? Don't make them work too hard for sure.
Well, the truth is that all podcast hosts are getting tons of pitches. Tons. They're getting
Sure.
loads of pitches. And, so also I suggest in the title, make it clear. So say something like, and this is probably what they're sending you from me to guess. Love your show. Are you looking for guests? Make it clear in the title that you are wanting to be a guest, because sometimes some people's, the way that they would title their pitches, it sort of look like maybe they're trying to sell you something. And you're like, wait, are you trying to sell me something? You're trying to get on my show. Like, what's happening here? Right? Let's be really clear.
Delete.
Yeah. And ChatGPT for some reason likes to couch the I'd like to be a guest into some other kind of bizarre language instead of just come out and just use the words, I'd like to be considered
I'd like
as a
to
guest
be
on
your
your show.
guest.
Right. Just be super
Yeah.
clear about what we're asking for. Because ChatGPT can get really pitchy and bizarre with these sometimes. And so I don't really recommend you use it for this in particular. I really recommend that you just kind of follow the formula that I laid out for you guys.
Yeah, keep it simple. I'm not a huge Chat GPT fan or AI fan anyway for the creative process. So, you know, keep it simple. And if you need to like copy and paste that formula into the email and then modify it to save yourself time, great, right? But be clear on who you are, what you want, what makes sense. Here's why. I mean, just be super clear and make it super easy for the person on the other end. I love that. Uh, so are so did you find me in Need a Guest? Is that how we hooked up?
I think it
Perhaps.
is. I do think that's
It might
how we
be.
got
Okay.
connected. Unless you came to
Okay.
Speakers Playhouse. It might have been through Speakers Playhouse. So I'm also the
Mm,
co-host of
I
Speakers
don't
Playhouse. So
know.
could have been.
I don't remember. Is that your
It's been a
podcast?
No, so
It
my
has been.
podcast is the Aligned Business Podcast. Speakers Playhouse is a free networking event that we do every week
Okay.
for speakers and stage hosts to connect with one another.
Okay. See now, and I'm second guessing where I met you. I'm not for sure. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. I love that you have a podcast. For sure, I want to be on your podcast.
We
Sounds
will-
like a perfect fit. I'll send you a pitch if you'd like. I could
I'll
do
just
that.
send you a form to fill out. I think we're past
Oh,
that point.
okay. We're past the pitch point. Okay. I love that. And I hope that people who are watching, who are thinking that they need to get on other people's stages or podcasts or whatever that looks like, that they'll take that to heart and use that formula, and they'll no doubt get on more stages. Tell me what else in the Aligned Speakers Academy, since we were talking about that to start with, what else happens in there? Is that teaching you how to speak? What happens in that?
Yes. Well, here's what I find is people actually don't need as much help speaking as they think.
Mm,
Right? You guys know your stuff. You know you know your stuff. You've been doing it for years. You know the magic that you create in the world. Now maybe you might have a little hard time seeing, how powerful that
mm,
magic is, but again, that thing that is ordinary to you is magic to someone else. So we do absolutely help people with their speaking and help them to become more confident with that. We do a weekly coaching. The most important piece that I typically focus on with people in the very beginning, though, and I get a lot of folks that have been on shows, they've been on other people's podcasts, other stages, and what they find is that they did not get as much lead generation as they expected to from that
mm.
effort. And that is typically super, super, super easy to fix. You need a great lead magnet. And I'm just going to briefly say why, to like talk a little bit about why podcasts are so powerful for lead generation. Podcasts last for years. I know podcasters that have been podcasting for 15 or more years. A podcast can live out there in the world for 5, 10, 15 years, maybe longer. And as long as your lead magnet works, you can continue to get leads from that podcast. In my opinion, it's more powerful than the Today Show or, getting on, a lot of people pitch media and get on those types of shows. Nobody goes back and watches yesterday's Today Show,
Mm,
but they
so
do,
true.
right? But they do go back and listen to a podcast that was recorded 3 years ago, 4 years ago. They don't care. People nowadays are using podcasts like search engines. They're actually searching for subjects, finding podcasts that address the subject, and like making a playlist. People will also hear somebody on one podcast and be like, ooh, I want to go hear them on another podcast. Or, maybe people will tune into my podcast because I was on your podcast. There's a lot of like crossover that happens. So podcasts, first of all, are imagine that you've taken your little funnel that you've worked so hard to build and you've put it out in this place. And then again, we teach you to get on 2 a week. So by the end of a year, your little funnel is out there in 100 different places where for years you're going to get lead flow. This is why Russell Brunson, who's the lead flow
Mm,
guy or the
right.
funnel guy, teaches people. He's
Funnel
like
guy.
the way he teaches, yeah, the funnel guy. The way he teaches people to fill their funnels now is by getting on podcasts. But
Mm, mm,
you have to have a great lead magnet. So the first thing that we
mhm.
focus on, and actually the gift that I have for your audience today, is all around creating that great lead magnet. Because if you're not getting the lead flow that you want, there's probably something. Yep, there it is. There it is. How to create a lead
There it
magnet.
is.
Guys, it takes less than 5 minutes, but it is very specific. So you'll notice, I'm just going to point out
Mm,
on this page. You see how simple this is, guys? I'm not asking for
mhm.
a million things. I'm asking for your name and your email. To be honest, I don't really even need your name, right? And what you're going to
Right?
get is a
Just your email.
video. I really just need your
For
email,
sure.
right? And what
Yeah.
you're going to get is you're going to get a 5 minute, I'm sorry, it's actually a 6 minute video, but it teaches you how to make a lead magnet on two different platforms. You can use Jotform or you can use Google Forms. And it shows you exactly how to do it step by step. Because if you're out there creating fancy funnels, I'm just here to tell you that
Mm.
fancy fails and simple scales. This lead magnet has gotten me thousands upon thousands of leads.
Mm, mm.
It does not have to be fancy, folks. So that's my gift for the
Yeah.
audience today, because the most important thing that you can have as a business owner is a great lead magnet. So again, if you're just listening and like you can't go to the show notes or whatever, it's just
Mm.
greatleadmagnet.com. And there's a magic to
Brilliant.
that too. Yeah, there's a magic to that too. So when you put in your email address, you actually get a couple of bonus videos where I talk about why the URL that goes to your lead magnet is just as
Mhm.
important for podcasts
So good.
specifically.
So good, because people have to be able to remember it, right?
That's
They're
right.
jogging, they're walking their dog, they're doing whatever. It can't be, blah, 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 forward slash blah, backslash blah, it can't be that because people won't
Yeah.
people won't remember that,
No.
right? It's got to be
If it
plain
has a
and
forward
simple.
slash. Yeah. If it has a forward slash, if it
Yeah.
has a colon, if it has a dash, like none of that,
Yeah.
guys. No dashes,
Yeah.
no forward slashes. It just needs to be a simple
For
URL. So
sure.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
greatleadmagnet.com.
good. That's so
Yeah.
good. I totally have fallen down in this department over the years. It's been well, this is my ninth year. So 9 years ago, I'm not sure what month, was the first time that I hosted. I'd been on a podcast. John, my producer at the studio where we are right now today, um, had me cover for the host who had an emergency while I'm sitting there. She doesn't show up. And he's like, okay, you're the host. I'm like, okay. So 9 years later, I'm still, now I have my own and have had my own show with John for years. And I'm still doing it, but I've never, shame on me, I've never had that super simple lead magnet. So all of my episodes could have had that lead magnet attached to it. So I'm going to fix that today because
I
of
love it.
you. Fix
I love
that
it. Well,
today.
and I can talk, I mean, I can go a little further, right? So when we were talking about the show ahead of time, I was like, I don't want you to put my website. I just want
Right?
you to
I'm
put the
like,
lead magnet.
okay, okay.
Because
That's
yeah,
why.
right? But
That's
that's the reason
why. I think
is
it's brilliant.
well, one of the big things that we see that we teach when we teach speaking. So my specific expertise in speaking is teaching you to speak to get leads and or
Okay.
sales. Okay, so
Okay.
there's levels to the speaking game. Toastmasters is not going
Mhm.
to teach you how to speak
Ah,
to get
right.
leads or how to speak to get sales. Toastmasters
Right.
is going to teach you how to stop looking at your shoes and they're going to count your ums and your uhs. Okay, that's what Toastmasters
Right.
is going to do. My
For sure.
specific yeah, for sure. My specific expertise is speak to sell, speak to get leads. So
Mm,
there are
so good.
very specific truths to doing that. And one of them is a confused mind doesn't buy. This is
Mm.
why I encourage people to every
Preach.
time you're on, yeah, every time you're on a podcast, all
Mm,
roads lead to the lead magnet. And I want
mm,
to like relieve any like weird anxiety that people have about this. I'm all about moving forward, all about creating momentum. When people join because of a talk title, when they look at a talk title and they're like, "Ooh, I want to know about that," they're taking a step forward. And so by giving them a very clear place to step,
mhm,
you're actually helping them. You're helping them to take
mhm.
more aligned
So good.
action. You're helping them to take clearer action. When we send them to a website, there's a lot of things they can do on that website. And what's the one thing that we all
Mhm.
do when we, and they're like, oh, but I have lead capture on my website. That's what some, some of us are saying that. I have lead codes for my
Some
website.
of us, I don't know.
What do we all do when we go to a website that has a pop-up that asks for our email?
Oh, I close
X.
it. Item,
There you
yeah.
go.
Close
There
it,
you go.
'cause I'm there to
Close
look
it.
at the website. I'm there to see what all you do, but there's so much to see on most people's website, including my own, even though I have a brand new, beautiful, rebranded, beautiful website. Spent a lot of money on. Um, but yeah, I don't even do the pop-up because I hate them so much, but my funnel is on my website, right? It's just so I have a landing page that's specifically, but guess what? It's a forward slash because it's attached to my website, right? So shame on Clara for not knowing. Where have you been all my life? Right? How come I didn't know these things already?
Yeah.
So
Well, and
I have
then
some
and so yeah,
suggestions.
so we go to a website, right? And so I'm gonna take this one step further. Okay, so let's just in
Okay.
our minds imagine we go to a website, the pop-up comes up, we close it,
Mhm.
and then we're overwhelmed because now there are choices. And really
Yes.
what we should have done, because we wanted to move forward. And so if we wanted to move forward, what we should do is really connect with the person that
Mhm.
we came there to connect with, which is the owner of the website.
Yep.
But instead, we now
Yep.
have this page and we're overwhelmed. So we get to that page
Mhm.
and now we do nothing. But what we do is we tell ourselves, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to leave this open and I'm going to come back to this. Sound familiar?
But we
And
don't.
then we go, and then we
No,
go and
I
we
don't
do
know
all
what
these
you're
other things.
talking about. I have
So
no
then we
idea
go
what
do
you're
all these
talking
other
about.
things. Eh,
Mhm.
yeah. And then we close our computer for the day.
Yeah.
And now that website is
Yes.
lost forever.
And close all those
And
tabs that we had open to go back to that we never did.
yep.
Ah,
Yep. And
mercy.
now this
Mhm.
person who really did want to move forward, like in the moment that they joined
Mhm.
that talk, they listened,
Mhm.
they were like, I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
I'm going to do this lead magnet thing. I'm going to fix my lead magnet today. Right. So I'm sending them to greatleadmagnet.com. But if I was to send them to my website, they would go there. They would think, oh, I'm going to do this. Okay,
Mhm.
wait, where's the thing? Okay, I need to find the thing. Okay, now I'm going to do. Okay, now I'm in, right, and then they leave it open, and then and
Mhm.
then they've lost it, and then tomorrow they're like, okay, wait, where was I? What was I gonna? I was going to do the lead magnet thing. What was her name? What was that website? Right, but if it's a
Yep, it's
simple
gone.
sticky
Gone.
URL, greatleadmagnet.com, that
Mm.
is so sticky and
Yep.
so
So
memorable and
good.
so easy. Right. And so that really, guys, and I
So
can't
good.
tell you how many people come and work with us in the Momentum program and they're like, I've been on 20 podcasts and I didn't get any leads. And I'm like, I can tell you there's one of
Hmm.
three things. So we've covered the first one, which is that your lead magnet probably wasn't quite right, wasn't quite what it should be. Right. And then there's a couple other little pitfalls that we see people fall into.
That was so good. We are out of time. Dang it. I really needed more time with you for sure. But I'm going to go to Great Lead Magnet for sure and get that so that I can fix mine. And I look forward to being on your show. Um, Dang, I'm out of time. All right. Thank you for your time, my friend. I appreciate the wisdom and I look forward to connecting with you myself.
Absolutely. Super fun. And I look forward to having you on the show. Thanks for having me.
All righty. All right, guys, I'm totally out of time today. It went way too fast. But of course, if you are ready to get your book done, I invite you to craftingyourmessage.com. Oh no, /academy. There's that /. I need to get myself a different URL for my starting point for people, but I would love to connect with you and get you started on your book journey. So here I am reminding you to be strategic, be intentional, and be savvy about it because influence matters, my friend. See you next week.